What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the On Base podcast. My name is Dylan Nightingale, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, the man himself, Danny Jansen. How are we doing today, bro?
Good, Dylan. Thanks for having me, bro.
As you said earlier before we started this up, you're a longtime follower of the page, so that makes it even more special that you're the first guest. So definitely huge.
Got it, man.
Pretty crazy year for you in 2022. Besides setting a bunch of career highs, outside of baseball, you got married in January and you had a kid in October. How's that?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's so we actually eloped during COVID times, but we had the wedding January 2nd, 2022. So it's a huge start to the year already, right? And then go through a season and then we know that she was pregnant kind of the whole season since January. So we were expecting a baby in October, and we got our boy Miles, and it's been full dad mode, and it's been amazing. So I couldn't be more excited.
I'm sure. And who knows, we may add some dad pop in 2023.
That's what we're hoping for, right?
A few more homers, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, wild off season for you, aside from obviously having a kid. As soon as the offseason started, your name was in some trade rumors. How is that like managing trade rumors?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a bit challenging to avoid. I mean, I tried to do my best to avoid it, and it's one of those things where you really can't really control it, right? So it's but again, it's still like there. You still have like some friends that might say something, or
I'm sure.
or all maybe some family that because I try to stay out of it, but I can't control if they do. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I just try to keep my head down, work on myself. Obviously, having a kid and just trying to be the best dad I can be, and then get myself personally ready and prepared mentally, physically, and just try to stay that course.
It's definitely the way to do it. As I said, there are three talented catchers on the 40-man roster headed into the offseason for Toronto. It was you, Kirk, and Moreno. What does that mean to you that they like decided to stick to you and were able to part with such a young talent in Moreno?
Yeah, it's a grateful feeling. I mean, it's being like with the longest tenured guy. It's a cool thing, and it's one of those things where it's out of my control. But I guess it means that they got faith in us, faith in me, and that goes a long way. It's a good feeling for sure.
Definitely. And as I said, Kirk's still on that roster. How's it like being around you're talented on your own, offensively, defensively. Do you guys like bounce off each other in a way and try to improve off each other?
Yeah, we do that for sure. I mean, I've watched him grow into the player he is, and he's still not done growing into it. You know what I mean? But develop as a catcher, he's always been able to hit. It's always something you've always heard about coming up, and then you see it firsthand, right? Catching wise, though, the strides he's made over the years has been great. And it's something that, I remember a couple of springs ago when he was in the minor leagues, we're doing a catching routine before the game of a big league spring training game. And the catching coordinator at the time brought him around just to like watch a routine and stuff. And then, I've seen him develop kind of his own routine. And that's something that I think is huge for the position. It's having a routine you do every day before the game, and watching him develop his own is great. And then seeing the player he's become. So it's been good. We bounce stuff off each other. I'm continuing to learn. I try to learn. I always say that the moment I think I know everything is when I'm going to get kicked out of this game. So it's always learning and stuff. So either scouting reports, receiving stuff. I mean, that's watch video of each other, or just talk about it too once in a while. You know what I mean? So it's all good. Just want to win, right?
For sure. That's awesome. You yourself were a 16th round pick in 2013. You had a solid start to your professional career, but it really took off in 2017 when you started in high A and ended in triple A. What adjustments were you able to make that season?
Well, 2016. So I went through a couple of years of injuries in a row. So like 14, I injured my knee, 15 hand, 15, 16, like the hamate bone, that you had to get removed basically as a catcher. As a catcher, it's on the left hand. So it just kind of it was more annoying because it's always constant like contact because it's, I'm a catcher. And then at the end of 16, I realized that I needed glasses. So
There we go.
I remember I was telling was telling, one of my former teammates and stuff, we were driving, and I was like, man, like, I don't know if I'm tired or if I really can't read that sign. It was towards the end of the year, but like it was just blurry stuff, and I was so stubborn. I was like, I must be tired all the time. Like, it's no way my eyes are bad. Like baseball players, you want to have like that perfect vision. It's like, so I was just stubborn, myself. But after the year, I went and got checked out, and I had astigmatism and some correction. Threw some glasses on, and I was fortunate enough to go to the fall league that year. It's 2016 Arizona Fall League, and I I threw glasses on right before that and went out there, and I see the ball, and it was just a whirlwind difference. So starting in 17, I already had more confidence because I could see it, and
Definitely, yeah.
and so yeah, it was a great year all around, with going up 3 different levels and stuff, and then ended up at AAA, and that's where you got guys who have been there, and you got prospects, and you got just a mesh of different players with a lot of experience. So it was a great year.
For sure, yeah. I'm sure it helps a ton when you could actually see the
Yeah,
ball
I
playing
know.
baseball.
I don't know what I was thinking, but stubborn.
Yeah, I mean, while we're on this path, going into 2018, you played in the Futures game, and I would say that was like your first time on a big national stage like that.
Yeah.
And you definitely made the most out of the moment, hitting a home run and doing that in front of your manager, Torrey Hunter. How was that?
Yeah, that was cool. It was yeah, it was the first, like you said, big thing like that, and playing in a big league stadium in front of a lot of people. I was anxious before that. You know what I mean? And then getting that whole experience of Torrey Hunter, David Ortiz, trying to think who else was there. Just a bunch of guys that it's just like, wow, these guys are around us, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? And
it's
coaching
unreal.
us too. So it was cool. And the players there, and seeing those players and meeting them, playing against some of them in the minor leagues, but some not as well. And then just seeing the talent in that game. That game was crazy too. I forget what the
So many
score
home
was, but
runs.
there was a lot of home runs.
I was looking back at the video. I mean, I was watching you like around the bases. You were absolutely pumped. So I definitely wanted to
Yeah.
see what you thought about that. But no, it was definitely
It was
a
cool.
crazy game. All those games, Futures games, seeing those young talent on like display like that, it's awesome for fans for sure.
Yeah.
Going back to your current situation with the team, you're set to hit free agency after the 2024 season. Have you had any long-term contract discussions yet with Toronto?
No, not really. It's just going through arbitration, and had the set on a contract this year, and just focusing on that and focusing on this upcoming season, and just trying to do anything I can to help the team win. So yeah, just going through arbitration and stuff this year like that.
Love to hear it. Talking about your off season on a baseball standpoint, was there anything you focused on specifically? Any improvements you tried to make?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Every offseason, there's stuff, and hold myself to a very, very high standards. So coming into this offseason, I was definitely happy with the way, offensively, how it ended, and coming into the offseason. I've always been a guy that's never been afraid to make some tweaks and stuff like that, even during the season, which there's been might have hurt me a little bit, but that's all part of learning. It's all part of my growth, and how I've kind of where I've become and where I'm at now and stuff. So I wouldn't change it. But yeah, so going off the last year offensively, I just want to build off that. I want to build off what I do well. And obviously I'm working on some things as well offensively, but still just continuing to build off my strengths. And then defensively, I feel like I said, I hold myself to a very high standard with all parts of catching. I've always been a huge defense guy. I think it's so important. And I want to, I'm making some changes with receiving, just trying to quiet some stuff down for myself. And so I'm able to handle the lower ball a little bit better, something that I kind of struggle with the last couple of years, but looking to improve on that, and then throwing stuff, just all around catching things. It's just tuning it up, but it's also stuff that I want to improve a little bit on it. And receiving is probably the main thing for me.
For sure. That's awesome. I mean, I don't have your specific numbers up here, but you finished the season insanely strong offensively. And even going into the postseason, I know you guys didn't make it as far as I'm sure you would have hoped, but in that wild card game, multi-hit games, like I'm sure you couldn't have asked for a better end to the season when it came to offense, especially when you were healthy.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's tough when you have a couple injuries, but on the field and stuff, it felt great when I was playing, and at the end of the postseason too. Definitely not the way we wanted to end it, right? But crazy experience that I'm looking forward to getting back to. playing in front of the home fans in Toronto. It was nuts. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And
Especially not being around them the season before. It must have been like
yeah,
electric there.
yeah. And the last couple of years where we were playing at Buffalo, and then finally bringing it home and being in Toronto, it was special. And it's something that we're gonna build off of. I'm building off it for sure. And I want to get back to it and to do it again, man, and obviously make it farther. But it was great to have that experience and get a couple hits too, and so it was awesome.
For sure. Speaking of building off of last season, Blue Jays made some very significant additions this offseason. To name a few: Dalton Varsho, Kevin Kiermaier, Chris Bassett, Eric Swanson, and Brandon Belt. I was wondering, have you had the chance to talk to Swanson or Bassett yet?
Yeah. When we got them, I got their numbers and sent them a text and say, "Welcome to the squad. What's up?"
Awesome.
You know what I mean, and reach out to them. But as far as like game planning and stuff, that's really was spring training. Try to hit the ground running with these guys, with the new guys, get with them. Obviously, I know what they're capable of. Facing them both, and just seeing them pitch. So super excited to have them. Great additions, and really looking forward to getting to know them, hitting the ground running in spring, and going to battle.
I remember following Swanson when he was in the Yankees farm system in like AAA. So it's super cool to see him have like a breakout season like that last year. Just absolutely lights out, especially in that Mariners bullpen. They're very nasty, but definitely a huge addition for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. And I always hear good things about just the dudes they are too. The people they are too, which is great. Yeah, that's huge.
You guys obviously started off a little rough last season, or I wouldn't say rough, but based on the standards of the AL East, definitely a little slow. And there was a managerial change made mid-season. And you essentially came up, I was looking at this, you essentially came up through the minors with John Schneider. So what did that mean to you when he took over as manager?
Yeah, it's great, man. Just proud of him. That was my first manager. When I got drafted and came in, I was in the GCL, and I had John Schneider, and it's something that we just bonded right away. He's a former catcher. I remember there was times where I was changing. Sal Fasano was our catching coordinator at the time, and we were changing kind of my arm swing a little bit, changing things up. And Schneider and I were throwing the football on the half field at 7 a.m, for a lot of times. So
that's great.
So it's cool. And I had him in 17 as well, and then in 19 in the big leagues together. And I just known him for a very long time, and know that he wants it so bad, and he's worked really hard. So seeing him get that gig, it was fantastic. I was proud of him. Team believes
in him as well, as they signed him to a 3-year extension this offseason. So it's definitely huge. And it's even crazier. I mean, we saw it with the Phillies last year. They also made a change mid-season, and then they made it to the World Series, made it to the playoffs. So I'm sure that's even bigger for you to see that he was able to lead the squad to the postseason.
Yeah, it's something too that it's not an easy thing to do, right? Mid-season to get that, and to be the manager and stuff, and then expectations are obviously high. So the fact that we did it and got there and stuff and brought it home and ended how we ended, with in the regular season to bring it home and all that, it was great.
For sure. Touching more on 2023, we got some new rules this year, the shift ban and all that. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously I understand the reason for the shift and how it's been such a big part. I've hit into that shift, I feel like a lot of times. So
I feel like everyone has,
yeah, everyone has, and that's why it's there, right? The data will say it. So so taken away, I need to touch up on the rules too. I know that I know the rules basically, but just like the overall, like they can't go on the second baseman can't go on the other side of second base.
Yeah, they can't cross that path right there. Yeah. I mean, there's not going to be any actual line, but I believe they have to stay in the infield dirt too. I could be wrong with that, but definitely some big changes.
Yeah, it's interesting. You've seen how teams have pretty much every team, right? Shifts a lot of guys, even to the 4-man outfield, and there's guys, so kind of all over the place. So that's going to be a change. Personally, for me, as a guy that's hitting that 6-hole shift a lot, I think that might open up some more hits. But that's just me thinking personally, a little selfishly.
Definitely.
But and then obviously other rule changes too, with the bigger bases and stoppage. Yeah, and what is it? The the engagement where you have to pick off twice or get them out.
I'm gonna be
Otherwise, it's
honest.
ball block.
I'm really confused about the pickoff. There's so many new ones, but the bigger bases I think is also a huge one. It's gonna be huge for stolen bases. I know you got your first stolen base last season.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, I
So
was so pumped.
yeah, so that and obviously just I'm sure baseball is trying to like get more offense, lead to more hits and all that. But definitely should be interesting to see how that like plays out.
Well, the
Do you,
bases I think is a good one too with injury prevention because the base is bigger,
definitely.
so not as much stepping on or just all the stuff that you can
Mm.
avoid with bigger bases. So that's good.
I feel like ever
Um,
since we saw that Harper injury a few seasons ago with him like hyperextending his knee on that base, like they were trying to figure something out with that. So definitely cool to see it come to fruition finally in 2023.
yeah, and then the clock is a huge one too.
Yeah,
With
that's
the
big
clock
for
come,
sure.
but I think that the pitch comms that we have, so
Oh yeah.
to eliminate the fingers, um, helps with that because you're gonna have a certain amount of time, especially in the high leverage situations. And you got guys on base, and obviously, instead of doing like the multiple signs, different sequences,
Mhm.
you got the pitch com now, and we're all used to that, which is nice. But you have the clock, so I'd have to obviously understand the rules a little bit more on when it
Yeah, yeah,
starts, right? But you can give a sign, you can give the to the guy in his hat early as you can. So maybe if it doesn't start until he's on the rubber or on the dirt, you know what I mean? So you can kind of circle around. I don't know, because high leverage situations is when you're gonna take the most time, and when relievers come in, and it's a huge moment in the game.
for sure.
So the fact that we've already have a year under our belt of the pitch columns helps with that. I think for sure, big time.
Definitely. Curious to hear how like fast did you adjust to the pitch com? Was it a tough adjustment for you, like or anyone else around you?
It was different, at first. I don't know if it's just like an old school mind that I have, but I was like, yeah, I don't want to use it. I like the whole
Yeah.
different sequences. I think it's cool. You can get really creative, but once we got going with it, and you get the feedback from the guys. I think one of the first times me and Trevor Richards were in a game, and he was like, "I'm going to try it." So I was like, "Okay, I'll try it too." And they have the earpieces for the catchers, and at the time they didn't have like towards the end of the year, I seen guys that have like the tube that went like right in their ear. And
Mhm.
at the time, I don't know if we had that early in spring. It was just like in our helmets, and you could change the volume, but I didn't, I didn't figure it out. So I was so rattled because I was calling a pitch, and I swear that it was the loudest thing in the world. You know what I mean? So you could hear it from
Yeah.
my helmet. So I remember at one point I was just like backing up, like I was backing up. Umpire's like, "What are you doing?" It was back there with me, but I was backing up while pressing a button or like making it, like walking around in a circle because I was just so rattled. I didn't know how to change it down.
That's
And
great.
it's not as complicated as I made it look. But soon after that, though, I did take the earpiece out. I was like, I'm not going to have that be an excuse for anything. So I didn't even have it, but just took some time to study the buttons. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure at the end of spring into the opening weekend, I mean, we were full go for the most part, pretty much everybody. Starters, I think starting pitchers kind of came onto it a little bit later, like pretty much all in on it. You know what I mean? But
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
and certain guys don't even want it without nobody on second base. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Which
get
is
it.
cool. Which I'm kind of for too. With making a slide step sign instead of having like pressing two buttons.
For sure.
With guys not on second base. So interesting, but adjusted pretty quickly, I'd say.
I think I was reading something. I don't know if it was mid-season or like spring training that obviously like there's a robot voice and you could change it to like your voice. Did you ever play around with that?
Yeah, I never did it. We had our bullpen coaches, I think, did it at one point. But like when you turn it up really loud or something with I don't know if it was just like the pitch of it, but it was kind of tough and challenging. The last thing we needed is to get crossed up
Yeah,
because
of
of the
course.
voice thing. Um yeah, but you can get creative with that thing. Remember Hedges? I think also Hedges had like good play. You remember seeing that story, and
Oh
he
yeah,
had like
yeah, yeah. Yep.
a button on it.
The
Uh
personalized, yeah. Definitely
yeah, so
cool.
you get creative with it. I think just the standard one is what we used though, just because it was just it sounded the best at like max volume. So
For sure. Do you have any general goals for 2023? Defensively, offensively, or even just like as a team?
yeah, you know, most of my goals is do everything I can to help the team win and get back to the postseason. Personally, I just want to be able to pass that baton to the next guy every at bat, not giving any at bats away, and sticking to my mind. I mean, I could dive deeper into it where I want to be able to, have that same mindset where I was feeling, last year, where it's something that I think that I've turned a leaf on over the last couple of years, because I've definitely struggled at the plate, but I've learned from it, and it's like it's not necessarily my swing. And I've years ago I thought that I needed to make some changes with stuff, but I've just kind of owned my swing last year and said, this is what I'm good at. This is my strengths. So for me, my goals are to continue to have that mindset, and there'll be times where I have to make an adjustment for sure, and I will do that. But it's just to kind of keep that simple mindset for me that works for me, and not change really that, and to go into the season and compete my tail off and help the team offensively and defensively the best I can, and just be a team leader and try to win as many ball games as possible. You know what I mean? That's the overall goal, right? So
whatever it takes.
Yeah.
How's it like being in a lineup? I have to ask this as a baseball fan. How's it like being in a lineup with guys like Bo Bichette, Vlad, George Springer? It's got to be awesome, right?
Yeah, it's cool. No, it's good. These guys are extremely talented. I think Bo, knowing Bo and playing with him over the years, he's such a mature approach. For I guess younger dude, right? He's always had this mature approach. So I like taking not only his brain, but all their brains, all their minds, and to see about what they think and kind of how they go about their routines and stuff like that. These guys are very, very good, right? So you can learn from them and see what they do, and it's always fun to be in that lineup with them. And I was hitting 9 a lot, so you got Springer behind, so I'm trying to pass that baton any way I can to get him up. And it's cool. It's a great lineup. It's fun to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, as good as an offensive season as you had last year and still hitting 9 really just speaks measures about how good the team is around you. So it's got to feel good.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I got some rapid fire questions for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. But
all right,
5 rapid fire. Just don't think, just answer. So we'll start it off now. Who has the nastiest pitch out of everyone on the pitching staff, and what pitch is it?
I'd say probably Gaza Splitter.
There you go. Go-to pregame meal.
Butter jelly sandwich, Uncrustable.
Minor league style. Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Do you have a most underrated prospect or minor leaguer heading into 2023 for the Blue Jays off the top of your head?
See here. Who we got? No, once you fire some at me though, so I can.
Ricky Tiedemann.
Yeah.
Tiedemann?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
He's a beast. I was watching some of his film a couple days ago. Absolutely insane left-hander. I'd be so excited if I was a Blue Jays fan to have him on the team.
I seen that guy. I seen that guy pitch. I was rehabbing in Low A.
Oh, really?
My first rehab, yeah. And I heard about him, and then he's a big dude and he's a lefty, and apparently, I just heard all about him. I saw him, and yeah, he's nasty.
He absolutely shoved
pretty quickly.
Season. It was his first pro season too. He just lights out. Now he's the number 1 prospect right now on the top 30. We'll see if that changes, but he's definitely going to be a big difference maker on the team, I'm sure, in a few years.
Yeah, that'd be the one then.
All right. Pre-game hype song.
Pre-game hype song? Really anything like EDM, anything that's
yes, sir. Love that.
Or Boston, the rock and roll band too.
Okay.
I have to go in the weight room really quick before the game and get ready, get my body ready. Anything loud, but really those either it's like EDM or it's some Boston old school.
There you go. Last one. Who's the GOAT of baseball in your opinion?
The GOAT of baseball?
Yes, sir.
Oh man. Let's see here. All time.
All time. Doesn't need to be active.
All time best player. Oof. Let's see here. Golly. I think that Mike Trout's got the chance to be the GOAT.
I respect that. Definitely respect that.
One of my favorite players of all time, Mickey Mantle.
Big on that as a Yankee fan. I respect that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
GOAT of all time. I don't know. Who's yours?
Yeah, I was about to say for me, I want to say Bond still. Obviously the steroid thing, it's rough, but he'll be my GOAT. I don't understand. Some nights I just look at his baseball reference page and just absolutely wonder what that was like to see. Because obviously I wasn't around to watch him play live, but
yeah, no, that's
I think he's the GOAT.
Yeah, no, pretty incredible. Yeah, that's a good one.
For sure. Well, that's all I have for you. I appreciate you being the first guest. And best of luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.